So, people, uh, I don't know. I'm brewing on something, so I don't really know if I should be doing this video, but I'll give it a shot, see how it goes. If not, I'll try again. Um, I just wanted to talk a bit about The Walking Dead. Um, the big, one of the big two shows, unless you count like stuff like Doctor Who and stuff like that. But like one of the two big mainstream shows right now. It's Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. And I'm a big fan of Walking Dead. I saw the first season, not on TV, but I streamed it. Before the second season came out, I think it was like, yeah, probably not that long after the first season was over. So like in January, February of 11, something like that. And I really caught on to the idea. You had, I really liked the setup. I always liked zombie movies, and I was on board straight away with the idea of a zombie movie that didn't end, like every other zombie movie is. You have a setup, and then you have to see how that plays out. If it's the mall, or if it's a bunch of people locked up in a house, or whatever, or Shaun of the Dead, or whatever. Um, and Walking Dead, of course, then offers a way to continue this, to see what happens after the people leave the mall, after they leave the house. So that was something that drew me in right away. So the first episode, and as soon as that was over with Rick in the tank, I wanted to watch the next one. I was hooked from the first. Usually it takes me a couple of 3 episodes, but I was hooked. So I watched that season, and then I watched the second season when that came on. Watched that episode for episode, and here comes the kicker. After I watched the second season finale, I then go and I download the whole back catalog of Walking Dead comics, which I through the time that I've been watching it, I've of course gotten that it was a comic. Me not being the biggest comic book reader, I never heard of the comic before that. But anyways, I downloaded and I started reading it, and this will be spoilerful. This is for everybody who's up to the current episode of The Walking Dead. I'm not. I won't bother with not spoiling anything or stuff like. And you should have read the comics too. If you don't, you don't need to. But I am. It's kind of the reason why I did this video. I read the comic books, and for everybody who has done the same, the first 5 issues follows basically the first season, and the second season on the farm is the next. I think it's issue 8, 6, 7, 8 to up until like 12, 15, something like that. It's very early in the run. And of course, after that, they find the jail, and that's like the next. I think it's up to the next 30 issues or something like that. And the most recent Walking Dead I read out was number 117. So it's been going. It's in its 10-year anniversary right now. Yeah. Then you had the prison, and then I keep reading. You get Lori's death. You get the governor's death. You get Rick and Carl trying to escape. They spend some time on the road, and Then they start to gather up this new group, and then uh, go on sort of a road trip to end up. I'm pretty sure the next place they stop where they set up camp is the place where they are at currently, which is the Alexandria community. And the thing about that is, I just told you the first 3 seasons basically of The Walking Dead was like the 31st comics. Um, and that's excluding a lot of stuff that they skipped over, stuff they've changed. A lot of times I think they change stuff for the better in the show. Some things I feel is kind of a cop out, but for the most part I'm okay with it. Um, but 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 after the prison goes down, there's like this gap of, I think it is maybe 30 plus issues where it's just them on the road meeting kind of minor obstacles here and there, cannibals, rapists, stuff like this, and then they get to the community, and basically then it becomes Rick not wanting to be the leader again, turning into the leader and showing up with a new bad guy, and that's basically where they are now. Um, the thing I'm starting to notice with The Walking Dead, the series, or the TV series, which is starting to frustrate me. It's a problem. It's actually a couple of things, but one of the major ones is the fans. I'm sorry, but most of the fans of this show has not gotten it. You really, really don't get why this show is what it is. It really pisses me off too, because it doesn't seem like anybody is like watching it, or even, does anybody know the source material? I watched Talking Dead, the fucking show that goes after, and even then, they're just, nobody's mentioning that the thing that made the Walking Dead comic book work is that there's action, and then there's long periods of time without any action of any sort. It's just people developing, people talking. It's a soap opera, I know, but it is a soap opera. Stop trying to make it an action series. Um, I I will. I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since I read the whole thing through. Um, but I think up until like maybe the past few issues, it's been over a year or more in real time since anybody died by a zombie bite or anything in the Walking Dead comic. Um, there's an ongoing threat that they've been talking about, that they've been scheming against and stuff like that, but most of the comics have been straight up talking, meeting people, and other people dying in accidents and battles and stuff like that. And those battles are few and far between too. Um, and every time I see them try, or I don't even see them try this, but when they did try back in at least season 3 to slow things down, people starts freaking out right away. Season 2 was even worse. People started right away. Why are we on this farm? I want to get off the farm. Move on. Can we please just calm the fuck down and watch the story arc before we start demanding shit? It's because of you that's all on the message boards and all over the fucking producers and everybody on this show, and just hound them with, we want action, we want more of this, we want more of that. And you see that the creators of the show are actually taking this stuff into account, and it's hurting the show. You get you get a whole different kind of show that this The Walking Dead is starting to look more like what Adventureland, no, Adventureland, Zombieland, what Zombieland would be as a TV show. Um, you got now a core of Rick, Carl, Glenn, Maggie, Herschel to a certain degree, but he will get done at some point, and we all know this because he's already crippled and stuff. Um, yeah, Rick, Carl, Glenn, Maggie, maybe some of the new kids, but you're getting a we're starting to get a base of and Daryl, and we're starting to get a base of people or a group of people that can't die because people will go ballistic. And this too is totally against the comic, except for Rick and Carl, which have gotten beaten to inches of their life over and over again through the duration of the comic. Except those two, which it's really in the comic, it's really just Carl that is safe. We all know that Rick can go. We know Kirkman is just easing into it. He got to do it at the right time. But I'm pretty sure that Rick's gonna go before the show, before the comic ends. On the show, you get this group that's kind of invincible. So we start to get all these filler characters, like we had with T-Dog, like we had with the guy who died recently, Martinez, stuff like that. And they're starting to get the tell that you got these people in the background. You know their names because they're named from the comic, so they're like throwing them out there just so the comic book fans were like, oh, okay, that's Martinez, that's Tyrese, that's okay. The second they start to talk or get developed any more than the side character, you can be 95% sure that this is the episode that they're gonna kill that character. It happened with T-Dog, and now it happened with Hernandez again, and Martinez. And I was so hoping I was wrong when I started to like, okay, this kind of seems like T-Dog kind of, and I'm not going against his death. I loved Martinez's death. The governor like going in the back of his head with the golf club from out of nowhere. That called back to season 3 when Rick took down one of the guys in the jail. I don't remember his name right now, but the guy he's split his skull. And stuff like that I like. But stop making the show predictable. You got characters in the Walking Dead comic which people loved. People were like, these are the pillars of the show. You can't kill these guys. And they get killed in random and horrible ways. You wouldn't know. Abraham, which is about to be introduced into the show, Abraham met his untimely death. Really surprising quick. You're actually, again, spoilers. Turn it off if you don't want to. This is pissing me off. You're flipping through the comic, and Abraham is just out after supplies. And this is a major character. He's been with the group since just after they left the prison. He's a big military man. He's good at what he does. He's good at protecting the group. He knows his guns. He's got a big fucking machine gun. And he's been nothing but good for the group. And you're flipping through the pages. They're going through places where they've been several times. And just, okay, they're looking for this, they're looking for that. And he gets an arrow through the back of his head, through his eye. You don't see who does it. I think you do in a couple of pages, but like when it happens, you don't see who does it. You don't know where it came from. But all of a sudden, he's got an arrow through his brain and he's going. Again, spoiler, Glenn died in the big 100th anniversary, or number 100. You would never expect Glenn to go. Just like in the show, he's like one of the pillars, and at least in the comic, he was really the guy who had gone from a boy to a man and really built him up. Like he was a good guy. And of course, at the point where he finds out that Maggie is pregnant and that they're gonna start a family, that's the time that a certain person gets to him and bashes his head in with a baseball bat. Again, pretty brutal. Middle of the night. You see it coming because it's the 100th episode. So you're expecting that somebody's gonna die. Glenn, I did not think it would be Glenn. I thought it would be Maggie before. Maybe not. She was pregnant at the time. They're not going that far. But like that's just it. That's how this show works. That's why it's exciting. That's why, because anybody really can die. Like, the one person that should be immune is and will always be Carl in this universe. When I see people actually threatening both the show and Robert Kirkman and the creators over Daryl, you're serious? Daryl, the fictional not the fictional character, they're all fictional, but the character that's not even from the original source material. He's fun, he's great, he's a good hunter, he's all of these things, but you can't not kill him because girls think he's hot. That doesn't work. That ruins the show. And stop ruining my show! It fucking annoys me. Like Laurie's death. They actually managed to do that better in the series than they did in the comic. But sorry, not good doing this sick and starting to scream. The key difference, Laurie doesn't die in the comic until they're about to escape the prison. The governor is basically where they are in the TV series right now. Basically, the last battle from series 3 finale and the battle we seem to be getting into season 4 mid-season finale is basically the same fight in the comic. They try once, they go back, and they go straight back and try again. And they then just run the tank over the fences, which seems to be what they're leading up to now. He runs the tank over the fences, and that's it. And yeah, Rick, Laurie, Carl, and Judith are trying to escape. Carl going first, Rick after. As he turns around to look after Laurie and Judith, they both get shot by a shotgun. Laurie gets shot with her baby in her arms, falls down and crushes the baby. Now, two things made this better than the TV series, and again, the TV series did it better. They had the whole she basically sacrifices herself and tells Carl how to live and all this stuff. Like, it's a really good scene and it's a really good death. The major flaw is that they let the baby live, because that was the main issue in the comic. You can care for this baby, at least as soon as they're out of the prison, which now maybe because they kept the baby they're gonna stay in the prison even longer. That's not how it's supposed to go. I don't want this to become... Like, what's this show gonna be when they're out in the wild and this kid is just crying and crying and crying? This kid is a newborn. closing into a year now in the comic. No, in the TV series. Uh, I'm really not that interested in watching this kid until he hits like, or she hits like 7 and 8 when she's starting to understand stuff. I don't want another 5, 6 seasons with her as a fucking liability. Like a fucking, every time she screams, she call in some fucking new walkers. A baby is not logistically smart, and at least not at this point of the Walking Dead story arc. When they get to Alexandra, they got a house, they got doctors, they got basically a hospital, stuff like this. That will work, because of course society will eventually build enough walkers will be dead, so they won't be. They'll basically just be another wild animal, and wild animals have we've been living with for all time. So we would eventually we would adopt this, and it would kind of work out. But at this point, having a baby, that baby, I'm sorry, Judith, Rick Grimes' kid in the TV series, has to die. It has to be eaten. It has to be something. It has to go. This will make both Rick and Carl more brutal, and you won't have to split them off and have one watching the baby and stuff like this. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I like a lot of the changes, but I'm scared for the future of the show because I feel they're playing more and more for you, for the fans, for the people who say you want action and stuff like that. This is not an action show. If you were in a zombie apocalypse, the first few days, weeks, months would probably be a massive bunch of chaos. But you would try your best to keep your ass out of sight of zombies. You would find out how to block them out of your life. You would find a way to not even see them. And that's what this show is about. How do you do that? That's the point of the show. That's supposed to be the fun of the show. And I actually find that shit the fun of the show. But you guys who keep fucking asking for the action stuff are ruining it. And can't you just watch fucking Game of Thrones or anything other like that got action and fucking stuff like that? Walking Dead is supposed to be the zombie show without zombies. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I think about that. I know they're... And it also annoys me because they're on AMC and they can't curse. They curse in the comic. You got a lot of fucks and motherfucker in the comic. Which means that you will take away a bit of the language. Which, again, ruins the natural flow of how people talk. At least in these situations. But that I can deal with that as long as you stop with the fucking saving of characters. Like, don't kill. You've done this basically twice now. Okay, you had Dale. Dale was a character that I liked, a lot of people liked, but after what I've heard, the actor, was kind of mad about Darabont being kicked off the show and basically wanted to leave himself. So okay. So you kill Shane, which that has to happen. That's probably the only one where they really stay close to what actually happened. And then you kill off Dale, mainly because he's... Yeah, if you don't look at the action part, he was the least active member of the group. He was the guy who was trying to tell people, we don't need to do this. We can actually sit back, take a breath, and try to think this through. This was never in... Except for Rick and maybe Andrea, Glenn, and stuff like that. Most people in the group were in the action mind that the fans are. You kill him, you come to season 3, okay? No major character deaths, except for Lori, which was predicted, and they just did it earlier to throw us off, which again it worked. You take T-Dog out in the same episode, which again was the one episode where he was. You heard people talk maybe for a year about what is T-Dog doing on this show? Why doesn't T-Dog say anything? Why doesn't he do anything? And then he does something, and then they kill him. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. And next major death, Andrea. I don't even count Merle because he was like he was like fan service being put back into the show because of fans being, oh, he was in the first season, and oh, we have to see him again. Oh, Merle is so cool, and oh, Merle and Daryl, oh, and no. He could have bled to death and getting eaten. That's what happened when people chain you to a fucking roof in the zombie apocalypse. You don't go and make yourself a makeshift fucking, yeah. Yeah, and then there was Andrea again, the one who got separated from the group, the one that wasn't going to be an integral part of the continuation of the story. But she is one of the greatest characters of the comic book. She is one of 4? Rick, Carl, Sophia, Maggie, and Andrea. Yeah, 5. You got 5 people from the first 10 issues who are still alive. And Andrea is one of them. And you remember back in like season 1 and early season 2, she was like this sharpshooter. She was very good with a gun. That was kind of her thing. That's what she does through the show. That's why she's one of the ones who's still alive. Because she can fucking handle herself. But no, you have to kill her off because you have to do some fucking love story with the governor. I don't get this. So I don't want to make this too long. I'm done. All I want to say is just please stop pandering to fans. Walking Dead. I'm talking to the creators of Walking Dead. I'm talking to Robert Kirkman, the producer lady, Gail Ann Hurd, Nicotero, whoever's watching this. Please just stop pandering to. Not just the fans, I'll include me too, us fans. Stop pandering to us. And just do the story right. If you're gonna do all this callbacks and stuff, you might as well just follow the main comic line. Because it's, for the most part, the main comic line is better than what you put as a season arc. And just, you can do deviations here and there, you know? Yeah. There was one more thing I was gonna, but I think I forgot. So I'll just say goodbye. My throat is really hurting right now. So, but at least I got one video done. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. And if you agree with me, put some comments in. If you don't agree with me, put some comments in. But let's get this discussion going. Am I the only one who feels like this? Any of the comic readers out there, are you like, do you feel they're pandering to non-readers or maybe changing the ideals of the show? And because I don't want that to happen. But other than that, I'll probably get a video or two up during the week. Try to do top 10 Christmas videos or top 10 Christmas movies and specials. And something else, just try to get my throat and nose to clear up a bit more before I do those. Yeah. Other than that, to all of America, happy Thanksgiving. To all the idiots who's going to be there, good Black Friday. Eat well. Live long and prosper. Yeah. Peace out.